All right, I think I should be good. Let's see here. Okay, yeah, awesome. Let's go over some replays that I haven't had the time to cast. Let's see. Some Dom stuff. Got some land battle. I think there's some more replay series that I wanted to cast, but let's go over these first. Let's see. Entire series replays we're casting. Most of them are writer. But I can see if there's anybody else's that I wanted to cast too. This Calamity posted some. Got some from its current year, but it's also writer as well. Let's see. Do I have that one actually? Let's see. I don't think I do. No, I don't. Yeah, I'll cast those. Tesla Nesh versus Wood Elves. Norska versus High Elves. I mean, is it my fault really that everybody continues to play Ryder, or that Ryder just is like the only one that plays in Vermin League normally? Okay, I'll get Gotrek. Do I want to like? Do I want to cast Gotrek? I don't know about that. I don't want to cast dwarves. I don't think. Let's see. Oh my god, it's actually just like mostly Ryder. Okay. Okay, there's some Taurus in one as well. Cast some Taurus in games. Okay, I think that's pretty good. We got some Lenorm, which has Kaiju in it. Okay, I'll cast that. Okay, that should be enough, I think. Quite a few there. Okay. Okay. Okay, we'll just go from bottom here. Ryder versus Ingars. These are mostly series replays. These aren't just single standalone replays. This entire like channel on the Discord, and the Vermin Link Discord is just for series replays. So it's all gonna be best of threes. Some may not go all the way to best of three, the third game, but it was. Been meaning to do this for a while, but here we are, finally doing it. All right, we have Ryder up against Incars. Ryder on the Wood Elves up against Incars on Warriors of Chaos. Thought about doing videos for some of these, but I don't know. Best of threes. Some of these can go kind of long, so you end up with like a 20 to 30 minute video for a best of three. I figured it's better in the live cast. But here we go. We got Mr. Durthu himself with Sword of Daith and Flock of Doom. That's pretty much all. For the rest, oh, we do have a Branch Wraith. A little Branch Wraith there with just Earthblood. Okay. I've noticed that Ryder likes to do that a lot. I'd never ever do this, but or see anybody else do it, but it's mostly dual casters that Ryder does. But for the rest of the army, it's going to be Dryads, 3 of them, including the Arwar Wraiths of the Frozen Hearth. We have some Glade Guard Starfire Shaft in the back, 3 of them actually, one of them being the Hagbane Tips, and we have some Wild Riders on both flanks, and some War Dancers as well, plus Eternal Guard. And then of course you can't go anywhere without the Wild Hunters of Kurnus. Now this is up against Walk, so I think the Wild Rider are going to have a pretty splendid time here. I mean, against Chaos Knights in particular, they're going to do great as long as they, of course, don't take that charge. They are a glass cannon unit in the same way that the ROR Razor Dawns, no, not Razor Dawn, Ripper Dactyls are. Colossal Hunters. They typically want to get the charge, deny them the charge with like screening that cav out with like spearmen or dryads or something. Let the dryads take that charge from the Chaos Knights, take all the damage, and then send in the Wild Riders, and they'll do great work. But yeah, let's go over Warriors of Chaos Army. We got Azazel here. He's got Acquiescence and Pavane. I've heard Ryder complain many a times about Azazel, and to be fair, he's extremely obnoxious. He's in a very, very tiny hitbox. He's just a Valkia, a spellcasting Valkia. That's what he is. He's really obnoxious. He's a really good fighter. Obviously, you probably don't want him in sustained combat with like Durthu, with that 5 armor of his, and that the fact that Durthu does magic attacks, I think, yes, yeah. But otherwise, like, he can bully that branch race. He can kill her very quickly, despite her having magical attacks, and he's just like very, very obnoxious. He's like a wasp, just kind of like buzzing around in your ear, just yeah, or fly, I guess, rather. But either way, yeah, he's a spellcasting Valky. He's very obnoxious. He's tiny and has physical resistance, of course, and really good melee stats. But for the rest of the army, it's going to be Marauders, a whole bunch of Marauders up front. Just a full front line of Marauders. No Chaos Warriors of any kind. We do have some Chaos Knights, however. Did I see 2 of them? Yes, there's 2 of them there. Or in more of them, actually. 3. 3 of them, plus the Rotting Riders, ROR Rot Knights. They do have that Blessing of the Lady and regen, and some very good stats all around. Can't really remember what the difference is between them and the base variant. But all I know is that they're much better. Marauder Horsemen, throwing axes in the back line. They can help deal with Durthu. They're going to pretty much be your only method of dealing with Durthu in the late game. So, and also they can just, if there's Treekin, which usually there won't be, but on the off chance there is, they'll do great into those as well. You're going to need them because you have not much AP aside from that, aside from the Riding Riders. So, very, very important unit. Chaos Warhounds as well on the flanks, going to be surrounding, and they could be what you need to shut down those Glade Guard. If you can get between those gaps, that is. Glade Guard already shooting into the Marauders, doing some pretty good work. Gonna move my mic a little bit here. Yeah, Marauders are obviously going to lose out the Dryads very, very easily. For the Dryads will just smoke the Marauders. They are a nothing to them. They will bend and tear like paper. But yeah, as you can see, already one Marauder routing off. This one's probably going to ride off soon, and the other one is just going to take that fight there with the Dryads, and they will win, as I said, very easily because of the physical resistance and just much better melee stats. Waters are going to get a very possibly devastating charge there on the Marauders, and actually they're going to dip out immediately after that charge to dodge the Chaos Knights, which are of Khorne, actually. Did I notice that the other ones are not? Are they all of Khorne? There's 3 of them, isn't there? I don't know, doesn't matter. But this one's going to dip out, and they're going to take that rear charge from the Wild Hunters, which is not what they want. As I said, they want to be denied the charge. Rather, they want to be getting the charge on the Wild Hunters, not being denied it or not being charged in the flank by them, because those glass cannon anti-large cav are very, very deadly. And look how fast they got rid of the Chaos Knights. And my god, those guys got absolutely destroyed. Azazel being very obnoxious here, throwing that Pavane down on those Glade Guard to shut them down, to get them to stop shooting. One of these is actually kind of disrupted in that fight as well, not able to shoot. These Chaos Knights do get a very nice charge there on the side of those Glade Guard. Don't really actually do much damage there. I don't know what the hell was up with that, but that was frankly very disappointing. They got a very nice clean charge there. They didn't do anything. Now the Wild Hunters are probably going to scare them off here, possibly. Yeah, and they try to get away, but they're being tied down by this Eternal Guard quite a bit, so not a good situation for them. Massive Flock of Doom. Is that overcasted? I think it's overcasted. Yeah, hitting all of these the units here from the Warriors of Chaos, including the Riding Riders, Marauders, and Chaos Knights, doing fantastic damage there. I hate Flock of Doom. It's just so disgusting. Just doing a really good work. Riding Riders are actually getting melted as well by the Glade Guard at the moment, who does those magical attacks plus AP. So yeah, just perfect at shutting down those Riding Riders. And yeah, just they're also going to be sealed in here by the Wild Riders to stop them from shooting, to stop them from getting away. Look how much they're struggling to actually just get away. Despite having pretty decent mass, they're being pushed in by the Wild Riders, and then then also just being shot. Do they have poison? We have Hagbane tips here somewhere. Yeah, they do. So they're probably being slowed down by the Hagbane tips as well. But yeah, those Riding Riders are gone. Balance of Power is looking to be in Wood Elf's favor, and it makes sense because I think once those Riding Riders are gone, I think it's pretty much over for them. Did the Where's the Chaos player in cards, did they didn't forget about the Marauder Horseman? Or did my replay bugged or something? May have been just forgotten about, unfortunately. Or they held them back for the late game. But either way, we have the Chaos Knights coming in here, getting a nice little charge in the Dryads. But yeah, it's going to bow out there. And that is going to go to the Wood Elves. Makes sense because, I mean, the excuse me, the Rotten Riders, very important there, lost. In a very, very important engagement. And the Chaos Knights as well kind of struggled quite a bit there. 404, 28, and 597. Typically, at the very least in Dom, and I haven't played Wood Elves in Dom in a long time, the heavy cavalry, like your detriment, very, very, like, I don't know how to, they are like, you're anti everything. Just heavy cav. You're always gonna have a struggle with dealing with that. But Darthu, at least in land battles, helps out a lot with that, and being able to slow them down as well with, say, a poison from Hagbane tips, or just make their charge not so beneficial for them whenever you're shooting at them with Starfire shafts, because of the heavy AP from that. Obviously, their shields help, but it's still quite a bit of damage. Those whenever like 2 or 3 Hagbane tips units are shooting at you, it can add up quite a bit, quite very frequently. I mean, very fast. But all right, that is the first game. We'll go to Ryder. Second game here. All right, as you can see, we do have the High Elves from Ryder, their trademark, up against Inkars on the Greenskins. Put water here. All right. I think I saw double Lore Master, was that, or something like that? But we have Mr. Tyrion here, of course. Got to bring Tyrion, Sunfang, and Faint and Repost, plus his... I don't know, can you take off his Heart of Avalon? I assume you can't. I don't remember. I mean, it's a magical item, so I'd assume possibly. Either way, a double Lore Master as well. Pretty cool. Pretty cool little tech there. Just one is just gonna be used as just a fighter, I think. Yeah, because they can't take duplicate spells. So got Storm Rider, one of them here with the Chest Starf Blood. Gonna be healing up Tyrion and healing up your Omen of Assyrian, which doesn't have regen, I believe. They do have the Fire Rebirth, but obviously that's once it's like practically dead. It doesn't have like a natural regen. But got some Spearmen as the front line. Should be a staunch line of Spearmen. We have some more Spearmen on the side and 3 Lothern Sea Guard. No, 4, excuse me, 1 being the Storm Riders. We also have War Lions in the center as well to help deal with kind of just anything on the Greenskin roster. They'll okay with fighting against Cav, I've noticed, and dealing with any Black Hooks on the off chance that they're brought for some reason. But and they can even fight back Squigs, etc. They're just an all-around kind of unit, in my opinion. Despite them having bonus for infantry, I think they do okay against Cav, as long as, of course, just like with the as I was saying with the Wild Hunters of Kurnus, as long as they don't take the charge, because they don't have the greatest melee defense and armor. So just another kind of glass cannon unit. And then we of course have the Omen of Syrian, which is pretty awesome. Has that Ember Storm ability, which is very, very nice. And then yeah, just my favorite kind of Phoenix on the High Elf roster, which is very, very cool. Not only like design wise and just pretty great like melee stat wise, and has probably just the best of its kind in terms of its abilities. But for the Greenskins, we do have a Night Goblin War Boss, because that Spited the Bad Moon and Fermented Fungi, of course, and then the boss's Loons, which I don't think you can take off. But yeah, just back to that's something I guess I haven't missed. It's not casting Greenskin replays in a while because they're not that great in land battles. Is that I haven't having to deal with seeing the Night Goblin War Boss because Rampage, as we all know, is an extremely strong ability in Total War, and Night Goblin is kind of just brought for that. Obviously, it kind of beats, I guess, only seeing, what's his name? I was gonna say Azazel, but no, Deathcaster starts with an A. Mine is blanking there, but you guys know what I'm talking about. In Warhammer 2, just him on his Wyvern all the time, just spirit leeching people to death, or just Fate of Uni in early Warhammer 3. Obviously, the change when Grom came around in Warhammer 2, but he stopped getting used as much in Warhammer 3. Anyways, we have a Goblin Big Boss as well. They need stabbing. We got Orc Shaman for the caster with the big Brain Bursta. Pretty good against the High Elves, I think. It doesn't have great AP rate. Yeah, 0 AP%. I think, what is it? Head something? Is it Headbutt? No, Headbutt doesn't also has no AP, so it's just, Gaze and Work that has the AP. But, yeah, Spammer only have 40 anyways, as opposed to like Silver and Guard, which have like 80. Would be Goblins Spears for the front line. We have some Crimson Killers, and look at that. I did say Black Orcs, so we do have some Black Orcs here. Crimson Killers. I mean, it is Incars. Incars sometimes takes fun units, so cool to see Crimson Killers here. Hopefully they deal well. We got some Squig Herds as well, supporting that front line. Morgrim's Raging Marauders for the Skirmishing. Orkboar Riders. Orkboar Riders, what the hell? Orkboar Boys on both flanks. Pretty solid AP, decent melee stats. Broken Tusk Mob and Orkboar Biggins in the center to help deal with the Dragon, Princes, Phoenixes, etc. We have a Brain Burster going down on the Storm Riders, doing some pretty decent damage, as you can see. Very nice little chip damage there, very cheap spell. Broken Tusk Mob taking a astronomical amount of damage already from... Astronomical, what do you mean? Good damage already from the Lothern Sea Guard. Gotta want to get those guys out of that range there. The Goblins are going to take a charge there from the Warlines, but that was probably intended for the Orkboar Biggins. Now they're going to turn around and get us around here on the Squig Herd and help deal with the Goblins as well. A Sunfang coming down here as well, going to pretty much wipe out the rest of those Goblins, possibly. No, not really. Something is not as strong in lore as we all know. Fermented Fungi going to go down on the Storm Riders, going to be forcing them into melee combat so they're able to shoot. The Broken Tusk Mob are going to take advantage of that, and they're going to be sent into melee. Though obviously not their best target, as they obviously are being sent into a spear unit against as a cav, so don't want to be sticking around in that fight for too long. Though don't have exactly the best options here against the High Elves, as they just have a lot of spears right now. So you got to take what you can get. A nice little Brain Burster going down on the Lothern Sea Guard, doing a little bit more chip damage. Crimson Killers probably going to get a nice engagement here. Possibly, but the Lothern Sea Guard are running away like a bunch of cowards. Though we do have some Orkboar Boys going to be probably trying to stop those guys from running away, giving the Crimson Killers time to catch up and deal with those guys. Big Boss's Loons here being thrown down on the Lothern Sea Guard. Doing okay. They're not too bad compared to the base variant Night Goblin Fanatics Loons. Not as good, but decent. Emberstorm going down there on the Crimson Killers. They didn't do a whole lot there. I think it doesn't have the... Does it have 100% AP? It's 50%, so it did okay there. The Morgrim's Raging Marauders are shooting in a little bit here and there, whatever chip damage they can get. Warlines right now are taking the volleys and do get routed off thanks to the Night Goblin Warboss and that supporting fire, the Morgrim's Raging Marauders. The Storm Riders, they have that fire whilst moving, so they're just shooting while they're moving over towards the Morgrim's Raging Marauders, trying to catch them out possibly, or trying to get away from this little fight here as they want to get up and shooting again. Though the Orc Shaman is going to make that a bit difficult for them, going to stop them from shooting, and going to get some support from the Squig Herd. First wall of the game popped. I think it's the first wall, and we pretty much of stat bonuses all around for the Green Skin Army. As you can see from the balance of power, looking to be more in favor of the green skins, but that does not mean that the High Elves can't scrap back here. But as you guys saw, from the fact that it's a best of 3 game, High Elves are probably going to take it. But Crimson Killers going to be fighting it out here with the Lore Master, doing pretty good here. I mean, they need stabbing popped on the Lore Master, is bringing him down to 33 melee defense, pretty nice there. And obviously he's surrounded by like a really elite cav, which do have bonus for infantry, which does. Wait, did I miss a rogue idol? How the hell did I miss a rogue idol? That thing's freaking massive. How did I miss that thing? That thing is like I guess because he's very like, I don't know, he blends in with this environment. So I don't know how I missed him, but I'm just gonna say that's the excuse for it. Emberstorm going down on the Crimson Killers, doing okay there. But yeah, the Lordmaster kind of got crumped there by the Crimson Killers. They are an anti-infantry unit there, so infantry size Lordmaster gonna do really good there, and solid AP as well, 22. Wish they had a bit more AP, but still, a bunch of infantry helps quite a bit. So as it adds to both base weapon strength and to AP. Orc Warrior Boys trying to get in a little surround there on the Omen of Assyrian, but Omen of Assyrian is going to start chasing after the Swig Herd instead. But yeah, as you can see from the what's left here for the High Elves, it's pretty much a given that the Greenskins are probably going to win here. I mean, they have nothing to do with the Rogue Idol. I can't believe I missed the freaking Rogue Idol. When I saw the Rogue Idol, if I had saw the Rogue Idol in the beginning, I would have been like, okay, what do the High Elves have to deal with this? I mean, Tyrion would get his butt smacked by the Rogue Idol. The Omen of Assyrian isn't going to have much help with dealing with that either. I mean, it's a massive HP pool. The Goblins, 16k. So yeah, I think the High Elves were not prepared for it at all. The Double Lore Master. Tech, definitely not a anti-Rogue Idol one for sure. But yeah, they need stabbing going down on the Lord Master there, and did be chased down and probably finished off by the Goblin Big Boss and the Rogue Idol. If the Rogue Idol can actually hit, and there we go, first hit going down, and then a Terror Route comes in. Tyrion, he's gonna try his best though for the Assyrian, and of course for the entirety of Ulth 1. He's gonna try his best, probably trying to snipe out this Orc Shaman. But here comes the Orc Warrior Biggins to surround Tyrion. And he is, I mean, at the end of the day, a raid boss, so he can probably put in some good work before he dies, which eventually he will, because as good as he is no... honestly forgot his name for a second there. What is that one High Elf? Calidor? I think? King... I don't know. One of them. That's one of the Phoenix Kings, the one that, you know, managed to fight off 4 freaking demons on his own with just his dragon. But yeah, he's to be fair, Rogue Idol is tired. Only has 43 melee attack at the moment and 23 melee defense. So I mean, I've seen Rogue Idol whiff a lot when it comes to like important fights, which he should be winning, which it should be winning. For some reason, gendering the Rogue Idol. But yeah, the Rogue Idol has whiffed a lot in games where I've seen it be used in, but this time it's actually hitting for once. So unfortunately for Tyrion, he does get that regen pop though, which is very nice. He's fighting off Crimson Killers and he's doing pretty good at it. I mean, though he's mostly trying to finish off the Rogue Idol, but the HP pool difference is pretty massive. I mean, Rogue Idol is down to 8,800, which is pretty substantial. Tyrion only 2,500 now. He's already got his regen. He's already close to his max health regen. Omen of Assyrian is caught out with a rampage there from the Night Goblin War Boss, routes him off, and yeah, the game 2 does go to cars. Actually, let me do something here. I'm going to throw up the locker, so these replay casts aren't spoiled. I probably should have done that in the beginning. We put this here, but I'm gonna take it off for now. So we'll go over the values. Did I go over the values in the last game? I don't think I did. I can't believe I didn't. Yeah. Oops. I just realized that now. That's so weird. I'm so used to doing it when casting. But yeah, 1658 here on Tyrion. He did pretty good there. 1587 on the Omen. Very nice. And the Dormal Lore Master. I mean, I can see the tech being very useful here. I mean, one is just mostly for fun, obviously, but 2, they're pretty decent at clearing infantry, and yeah, just overall pretty solid single entities. They're kind of expensive for what they are, but I can see the tech there just grinding down the Greenskins infantry and helping deal with any cav as well. I mean, despite them only being bonus versus anti-infantry, like melee fighters, they can still do decent at the cav, just like the war lions as well. So, but yeah, obviously the build kind of got, so if the Rogue Idol wasn't hit there, I think build wise, I think the High Elves would have won, but but the Rogue Idol, like, how are you gonna deal with the Rogue Idol? The double Lore Masters are gonna struggle massively against it. And same with the Logger Sea Guard as well. The Logger Sea Guard don't have that great of AP. They have decent AP, but they're not like built to shut down the Rogue Idol. But yeah, it's just surprise Rogue Idol, which again, I don't know how I missed that. That is incredible. I've noticed that on occasion I just miss substantial units like that, and I just like I think I need to get my eyes checked or something. 24 34 and the freaking Crimson Killers. My God. I mean, they kind of had a field day here, as you can imagine. Spearmen gonna do nothing to them. They're nothing to them. Literally just like gonna fold over as they're meant to. Lala Sea Guard obviously gonna struggle against them if they can catch on to them. Crimson Killers, I can't imagine. I mean, the one time that they go up against Ryder on the High Elves and he doesn't bring Sword Masters, even then, do Sword Masters beat Crimson Killers with their change? Actually, do Crimson Killers have the? I imagine they do. Do they have the buff, the weapon strength buff? Choppers, big choppers, something like that. I imagine they would, because I don't see why they wouldn't. But yeah, even so, like if they didn't have that, I imagine they might still win. Though they don't have the greatest AP. They rely a bit on their bonus for symmetry. I can imagine the Sword Masters will win that, actually. As much as people like to meme on the Sword Masters, I think they'd still win that. But I imagine it'd be extremely close. Though now I'm thinking about it, I mean, what is it? Martial Mastery will go off, well, rather turn off after a certain percentage of health that the Sword Masters lose. I don't know. I don't know. Obviously, it's very hard to say like 1v1. You can't. I don't like when you people kind of like compare units 1v1 because the majority of the time in like actual live battles, they're not gonna have like a perfect situation for them to actually have that 1v1. So as much as you would like to say, oh, Dragon Princess the Fireborn will always beat like X unit, yeah, that's not gonna happen all the time because one, that's not how live matches. It's not how these live matches work. There's always gonna be supporting units or external circumstances which change that. But it's still, I guess, worth talking about or noting about because, like, maybe on a case, there's like that rare occasion where you do get that 1v1 without external support. So, and and it's worth talking about like what units in general could theoretically, if they had the chance to, shut down an enemy's opposing unit. But yeah, like with the Rogue Idol, I mean, typically, what would you bring against a Rogue Idol? To deal with a Rogue Idol. I mean, to be fair, if if the Lothar Guard probably had more time to shoot, they'd probably be able to whittle it down quite a bit, despite like majority of their weapon missile strength being non-AP. But yeah, I guess like if you're expecting it, then you can probably deal with it. I'm trying to think of what High Elves do to deal with it because I don't think High Elves have the best ways of dealing with single entities or heavily armored single entities. As much as I would like elite cav to do so, like, could you imagine if now some people still over exaggerate a bit when it comes to like these really good anti-large cav like Fireborn, and they'll say they're like OP or whatever. But like if you compare them with like Seekers, are extremely good at, like, if they surround a single entity, they'll do astronomical amounts of damage and finish it off very quickly if left unattended or unsupported, that single entity. But like, could you imagine if Fireborn kind of did the same thing? I mean, they're good, don't get me wrong, at fighting other like large units, cav, monstrous infantry, but they're no Seekers when it comes to fighting single entities. Like, could you imagine if most like anti-large elite cav were like that? I kind of wish they were at times, because single entity, that would solve single entity meta a lot of the times. but as long as that anti-large elite cav wasn't so good at dealing with infantry, like the Cold One Knights and Cold One Riders are right now. Cold One Spear Riders are right now. But I would love that, actually. Like, I would theoretically think that's perfectly fine, because Cinquante shouldn't be able to get away with just deleting an entire elite cav unit by themselves. But anyways, enough about that little rant. We'll go on to the third game between Rider and Incars. Pretty good game series so far. I mean, to be fair, I mean, it makes sense. Fairly evenly matched players. Incars, always a really fun player to cast. And same with Rider. I mean, Rider always builds these, like, depending on like how sweaty the tournament is or whatever. This is Vermin League. But depending on how sweaty the what they're playing in, they always bring these, not always, but they sometimes bring these off-meta builds, which are very fun to cast. Maybe not like the best, obviously, yet in that specific matchup, but very fun nonetheless. And it's kind of refreshing a lot of times too, because I don't know how Tequila Sunset does it, where he like casts a tournament or two every weekend, like every week, and it's like the majority of the time it's pretty much the same builds. That's not to say that's the same thing for every weekend, because I don't watch every stream, but generally you're gonna see either the same builds or something very similar to the same builds. Maybe they don't bring 3 Fire Glaive that time. Maybe they only bring 2 and bring, oh, I don't know, a Fireborn, which is okay. That's a little more fun, but it's still practically the same build, just like with a small change. So yeah, I always welcome seeing players like Rider and Incars bringing some more of the fun stuff. And that doesn't have to necessarily mean like bringing a meme unit like the Chilo Santar. That could mean bringing like, oh, I don't know, one or like a couple less Dread Knights, like 2 or 3 less Dread Knights. Not Dread Knights, excuse me, Dread Knights are terrible. Cold One Knights. But yeah, enough of that. Did I turn off the blocker? I did. Okay. Yeah, we got Mr. Malice Mean Blade here. Remember when he used to be called that in Warhammer 2? Because he wasn't like actually like competitive. So he was calling, he was just mostly called Mean Blade. He just never was used. He's just very edgy stereotype, like anime edge boy. But he's pretty decent here in Warhammer 3. I like him a lot. Very annoying. Demon's Curse, Blood Price. I should probably slow things down here, as you can see up against the Tomb Kings who do have that artillery piece. Malice Mean Blade here with the Demon's Curse, Blood Price, of course, all his stuff. We do have his Warp Sword of Cain, which brings giving that regen and damage word save. For the actual infantry, let me actually go over the caster here. We got a fire caster with Fire Cloak and Burning Head, and of course Kindle Flame, and plus that Dark Star Cloak without power recharge, which is very nice. We got some Bleak Swords and some Dread Spears as well. Dark Riders, 3 of them in the back line. We also have that Chill of Santar. Speaking of a meme unit, but I wish War Hydras are better, but it is what it is. CA hates Hydras, I guess. Yeah, pretty cool to see it, though. I mean, it has Terror, has regen, and, you know, solid AP. Can fight back like the War Kitties, I suppose, and if they get a good engagement, I suppose, or just with, like, harass the Ushaptis. But yeah, we have 2 Scourge-Run Chariots as well, and then the Crows of Cain, which is very good harassment for the Tomb King's back line. For the Tomb Kings themselves, here we have Cetra, of course, on his War Kitty with that Incantation of Cursed Blades and Incantation of Vengeance plus Restless Dead. My Tomb Kings builds have never been the same. Have never been. How do sentences work? I haven't played Tomb Kings the same ever since, like, I learned about Incantations of Vengeance from Tequila Sunset, because I pretty much always take it, like, in all the builds I do now, because it's just that freaking good. It is, like, incredibly good for, it's just, like, so much value, and it's just have really good utility with that speed debuff as well. But yeah, let me put things back in slow-mo. Ushapti great bows, one of them being the Chosen of the Gods, of course. We also have a Casket of Souls, which is very fun, do pretty good, and shooting into I didn't even mention that, but we have the Bolt Fiends as well, Dark Shards. But yeah, Casket of Souls will shoot into Dark Shards and get some pretty good value off of them, and even do okay, I suppose, into say like Cold One Knights, Dread Knights. What are they called again on the Dark Elf side? Brain Fog. You know what I'm talking about. We also have some Skeleton Horsemen as well on both flanks, including some Nehakar Horsemen in the back line. These are actually skeleton. We have Necropolis Knights, those slippery snakes, those anti-large variant. And that is it for the Tomb King side. Very fun build. The Scourge Runner Chariots obviously going to do pretty good into shooting into constructs. They're going to be sent into melee. They're going to do some pretty good work into the Skeleton Warriors. Very nice. Going to side charge as well. Back, like a rear charge rather, into the Spearmen and do really good. Is that really going to put them into crumbling already? My god, that is hilarious. The leadership on Tomb King's skeleton piece units is hilarious. Chill of Sontar breath actually going down. Wow, actually being used, doing some pretty good damage into those Nehakar Horsemen. That's a very nice breath attack there. That is solid. That's one of the best ones I've seen in quite a while. Oh my god, that burning hit actually hit the Skeleton Horseman as well. That's very good. That's a very nice value burning head there. I mean, what is the value there? Probably not a lot. 225 though on a single cast. Very good. Got that Incantation of Vengeance going down on those Dark Riders. Not the best choice there, but still pretty decent. And gonna slow them down. And you know, you want to get rid of any mobility that the Dark Elves have, so it's a valid choice. Chill of Sontar just fighting right now with some infantry, helping out that infantry engagement. The Bolt Fiends, what are they shooting at the moment? Probably nothing. They don't have a single target, but Malice is going to be sent in there to fight Cetra, and if anybody can do it, he can, but that's only if you can actually catch up to him. Cetra and his little freaking kitty bouncing animation, just bouncing around, he's very hard to catch, but on occasion Malice will get that little tag here and there. I mean, as you can see, they're also going to send in their Scourge Runner chariots to block them up, and it might be possible here that Ryder freaking catches out Cetra and snipes him out, especially with the help of the Chill of Sontar. Oh my god, Cetra's actually going to fall here to the freaking Chill of Sontar and Malice Meanblade, but actually Cetra gets away, slowly getting away, even with that Frostbite. How the hell did Cetra get away out of there? It's because the cold one. It's because the Scourge Runner chariots got terror routed by Cetra. Oh my god! The unit that was actually body blocking them was got terror routed by a freaking Cetra. Oh my god! The Ushaptis and the Chosen of the Gods right now just shooting at the moment. Don't really have a specific target. Maybe the Chosen of the God did have one particular before the Cords of Cain jumped on top of them, but they don't have one now. Speaking of the Cords of Cain, though, you do get that Incantation of Vengeance. That's a very good use of that, shutting those guys down so the Chosen of the Gods can start shooting again. Theoretically, the Chosen of the Gods would have beat the Furies of Cain on their own, but it's better to deal with them now rather than later, so you can get them back up and shooting again. Right now, they're shooting at the Scourge Runner Chariots, obviously one of the better targets to go for on the battlefield at the moment, because they're one of the only units that can deal with your constructs. If those guys are off the field, then the Dark Elf side are going to have very, very little answer to your Ushapti and Cetra. Though that relies on the Cetra actually living, because if Cetra gets caught out again like last time, he could very much die. I mean, look how much health he is at now just from that mess up, or like that tight. I'm not going to say mess up, but like that engagement that they had earlier on. Chill of Sontar. You know what's I always find funny about the Chill of Sontar and like the Hydras? Like, look at this leadership right now. Like, why is it just so bad on this leadership? Like, why? Down to 23. Obviously, it got hit by its own little burning head there. But it's actually like crazy how ridiculous these Hydras will... at what point they'll decide to rout, despite being in a very good situation, having a lot of health. A nice little breath attack here coming in there from the Chill of Sontar on the Necropolis Knights, who did get that Incantation of Cursed Blades. Overcasted, by the way, and still barely doing anything to Malice. Like, what is happening here? Why aren't they hitting him? Hit him! Now! Hit that freaking Mean Blade. Yeah, they're just, like, doing nothing at the moment, and now they're going to get rear charged by that Chill of Sontar. I'm probably going to get beaten back here, finished off. Look how much damage they're taking from that Chill of Centaur. My god, the Chill of Centaur are actually probably going to be the MVP of this game. And that kind of happens every time I like talk crap about a specific like unit. And I mean, well deserved. Chill of Centaur finally getting some recognition here. To be fair, that has to do with like the player. Sometimes like the Hydras don't have the best matchups or the best situations, but a decent player can make them work sometimes. But then a couple of nights, yeah, just gonna be finished off there. They're just having a very, very tough time. A Burning Head going down, or gets cancelled, I suppose. In condition of Curse Play, it's overcasted once again, going down on top of them, gonna help a little bit with fighting back that Chill of Centaur. Cetra also going to jump in there. I probably would have thrown that Incantation of Curse Blaze on top of Cetra rather than the Necropolis Knights, considering their condition. But it's fine. Cetra doesn't want to stay in that engagement for too long anyways, but he is hit by that Frostbite a little bit, so he'll slowed quite a bit. Now the Malice Meatblade here is going to catch up here and probably get a hit in or two. Yeah, and there we go. I mean, see, Cetra is having a really hard time unless he's like actively targeting something nearby. Like if he targeted the Dread Spears, he might be able to like get that jumping kitty animation, which would give him a little bit of a speed boost to get away. But yeah, at the moment he's having a hard time getting away from Malice. To be fair, Malice is an infantry-sized lord, so you could just easily like body block him with a Spearman like he just did to get away. But we do have what the hell was that? I'm not sure what just went down there. I heard a spell or something. Either way, the Ushapti gets sent into melee with the Chill of Centaur and the Dread Spears, and despite their Incantation of Cursed Blades, I think they're gonna have a tough time though. Look at that weapon strength. My god, that's incredibly high for Ushapti. And 80 freaking 2 thanks to that Incantation. I love Cursed Blades. It's just so good, especially Overcasted. Or rather, specifically Overcasted. I never use it outside of Overcast. But yeah, Malice is just having a really good time this matchup. I mean, I can see the freaking tech here. I mean, look how much harassment he is doing to Cetra. Cetra is having an awful time this game because Malice is able to get away with doing this. Constantly just snipping at his heels, and Cetra does end up going down there. Poor guy. Though Cetra is the imperishable, so he will come back. Just eventually, just not right now. Right now he is wallowing in his own despair as Malice destroys his kitty mount. But yeah, pretty solid series there overall. 1844 here on Malice Meatblade, pretty fantastic. As for the Sorceress, 848, pretty good, pretty decent cast. I mean, that initial one was actually incredibly good for no reason. Like the Burning Head just kind of curved in the right way that they didn't intend. Hitting the Skeleton Horseman as well is always very good value. Hitting an unintended target rather is always pretty good value, especially against like fragile units like, or rather I guess Cav or infantry like the Tomb Kings have. As if it hit like a different factions Cav, in that case, like it probably wouldn't have done much value, but considering they're a bunch of weak little skeletons, it's going to get good value off them despite not being the ideal target for a Burning Head. But yeah, for the rest of the army, the War Hydra got 1664 here. I mean, pretty good, pretty freaking good on that Chill of Centaur. Yeah, that's maybe that's what I should do. Like every freaking replay is like talk really bad about a specific unit, and that'll like be an incidental buff to that unit for that game, especially so in a live match. maybe it'd be beneficial if I casted certain people's games to help out their chance of winning. But yeah, the Chill of Centaur did pretty good there. I imagine this is probably one of their better matchups then, because not only can you harass constructs with it, but also with them, especially because of that frostbite, but also it having really good AP values. What else? What was I gonna say? Yeah, the constructs are obviously majority of the time in these matchups. Team Kings aren't going to have the best anti-large options. They rely a lot on their incantation of Cursed Blades and their Ushaptis to deal with it. But the Shaptis, as good as they are shooting at single entities, the thing about the War Hydras is they at least have regen, and I think they have summons resistance. I could be wrong though, but especially in a matchup in a map like that, at least you have some forest cover for the War Hydras too. But yeah, I can see this matchup in particular being decent for them. The Court of King got absolutely obliterated by that Incantation of Vengeance, and I think some other engagement as well kind of was pretty bad for them. But yeah, the Squadrunner Chariots kind of got countered pretty hard by the Ushapti. And even I think the Casket of Souls did pretty decent work, and not only into them, but also into the more important units of the Dark Elves roster, like the Bolt Fiends. Like the Bolt Fiends, for example, 130 value is pretty horrendous for them. Um, and they were very much needed to help deal with Cetra. Like if they could have finished off Cetra in that first initial engagement, uh, things would have been very, very, very bad for the Team Kings. But even then, like they could have shot at like Shopti if they got too close, or the Necropolis Knights, etc., etc. But it's okay because freaking Malice Meanblade over here made up for it, and same with the Chill of Xantar. 1136 here on Cetra. He did pretty awesome. Not as good as he would normally see. Like you normally in most good Tomb Kings games, you would see Cetra getting up to like 3,000 value or something like that, 3,000 plus, or like 2,800 is what I get the majority of times off with him. But he did said awesome, but he did okay. Yeah, Incantation of Vengeance is just a really good spell. Incantation of Cursed Blades. Obviously, you're not going to show up in numerical gold value, but an extremely good spell overcasted. Just very, very cheap and provides really good stat buffs plus that bonus versus large, which I guess you can include in a stat buff, quote unquote. Um, yeah, let's see. Everything else did pretty decent. 1100 value here seems to be um, the standard here. 1573 on the Chosen of the Gods as well. Nice. Yeah, they got some pretty good targets. Necropolis Knights, despite seeing them get bullied so badly by Malice, I wouldn't even say bullied, but it was more like they kind of just, I don't know, like that engagement with Malice was there was so weird. They just were not hitting, despite having that Incantation of Curse Blades. I mean, maybe they were, but not as much as they should have been. And if so, not doing as much, nearly as much damage as they should have been, as an anti-large elite cav like the Necropolis Knights, is slippery snakes. And that goes back to how I was talking about like the Seekers earlier. Like, imagine if that was the Seekers that surrounded Malice. Malice would be like partway dead after like not even like 30 seconds. Yeah, the Necropolis Knights have not the greatest reputation for a reason, but specifically there, that was just a really weird engagement. But overall, I imagine it had something to do with like maybe like animations were bugging out. That's always like an inherent issue with sometimes with this game. But they still did pretty decent at 1100. I mean, majority of the time I see them in these games, they just don't have that great of a showing, which is unfortunate because I like them a lot. They're very cool. I wish they had a bit of better animations though, because competitively, their animations are very lackluster and they're kind of slow. I mean, that's fine. That end part is fine as long as their animations were better. But otherwise, yeah. Let's see, lock her up here. Pretty good series. Go over to the next one. We have Rider versus Hepadors. Isles up against the Lizardmen. First, let's see here. right. Double Star Dragon. Yep, already off to a good start. All right. Yes, yes, yes. We do have a Mrs. Larry here on her eagle with Earthblood and her Star of Avalorn, plus Banishment as well, Shield of Safari, Life Bloom, and Boon of Isha, plus Shield Stone of Isha. Pretty much everything. Is that her full kit? No, obviously not spells wise now, but like everything, like, because I typically don't see the Shield Stone of Isha, but I can imagine it's very good here. Obviously, helping your Star Dragon stay alive, giving them that 10%. His res is very nice. They have ITP from specifically something. That's from the Boon of Isha, right? Yeah. Giving, I think Star Dragons don't need it. Obviously, they have Terror, but very funny nonetheless. And it gives that noble ITP. So, but Lion Chariots, we got double of those, plus some Spearmen, a whole staunch line of Spearmen in the back line. Line Chariots should theoretically do great here against Skinks or any Saurus if there are any nearby. And then we have a noble here, not on a chariot. What the heck? Should be in theme on his chariot, but he's not. He's just on a little his calf, his horse, excuse me. Pretty decent stats, 4462, and bonus is large. And what is this? Sacred Incense? 10% miss resist. What is this from? Is this from something Larry has that I missed out? I don't know. I think it's his own item. Yeah. But is that to any the allies too, or is it just him? Allies, yeah. So it gives like Lion Chariots and stuff like that. Missile resistance, which is cool. But either way, we got which obviously helps a lot against like Lizardmen because they have a lot of like little pokey little bastards with these skinks and their javelins. Just shooting away at your freaking expensive chariots or dragons. So 10% is no joke for sure. Definitely helps. But yeah, we got a Slan Mage Priest of Light. I'm gonna be rocking that Shield of the Old Ones, Banishment, Brooding Gaze, and Net of Amnitok with that Blood Statue of Spite. And for the rest of the army, already shooting off that Shen's Burning Gaze. We got Skink Skirmishers, Skink Cohorts, double Pistolodon, excuse me, Solar Engine. Sorry, Pistolodons. Got triple Skink Skirmishers in the center, some Spear Riders on both flanks, and the Umbral Tide, the R-Wire Salamander Hunting Pack. Pretty good here. Gonna do especially good against like the Larry or like the Star Dragon. Those Star Dragon, do they have fire resistance? No, it's just a Fire Dragon. Or Sun Dragon, excuse me. They were taking a nasty shot from one of those Bastillodons. If you want to keep them out of the range of that, my god. Took a very nasty shot there. But, yeah, let's see. That Air Force is going to be very, very scary for the Lizardmen as they don't... I mean, they do have Spear Riders, which would do okay there. I think mostly the Umbral Tide. If the Umbral Tide can manage to stay alive, they can do very, very good here. The Lion Chariot's getting a very nasty charge there, and the Skink Cohorts if they would push in, continue through the other Skink Skirmishers, that can be pretty good. But the Spear Riders are going to try to catch them out here, might be able to shut them down here. Very nice breath attack here. I think Ryder was possibly baiting out those Spear Riders to take that engagement just to get that breath attack, but unfortunately it didn't do all that much. I don't know if it's because of the time of the shield there or what, but it didn't do all that great. It did okay though. But what is that hill there? I forgot what it's called. Going down there on the Lion Chariot, Boon of Isha or something like that. Healing up that Lion Chariot a bit, but they hopefully needs to get out there before it loses any models. Banishment going down there, and Spearman, they do get pulled out there, and that actually does tag the Skink Cohort a little bit in return, which is very nice. Banishment going down as well on the Lion Chariots, actually hurting the Spear Riders more. Actually, excuse me, going down on the Spear Riders, doing it pretty good damage to them, especially with that net. Or that's on the Star Dragon rather. Yeah, the Banishment did pretty good there. And unfortunately though, the net did go down a Larry rather. I think it was an Overcast who went to net the Star Dragon and Larry, and it did pretty good there. Giving the Umbral Tide time to do some pretty solid damage at her. The lion chariots chasing after the Umbral Tide, not specifically to kill them, but to shut them down, to stop them from shooting. Spear Riders are going to be able to surround them. However, it's a very nice surround. Oh my god, that's pretty much exactly what, picture perfect, what you would want from a anti-large cav chasing after their chariot unit. Larry is taking a lot of damage. Definitely needs Earthblood or something, or one of those Star Dragons to shut down the Bastillodon, because my god, Larry definitely is in need of some help. Maybe to sit in the forest or something. I'm not sure what she can do. Maybe it's just her destiny to die to that Bastillodon. Umbral Tide getting some nasty shots into her as well, and it's not looking to be great for good old Larry. Probably going to die here if they take any more shots from either Skinks or Bastillodon. Umbral Tide just continues shooting in, going to zigzag a little bit, try to dodge, and Larry does rout off. Hopefully she can come back. Definitely at least survives both of the Bastillodon shots. The Star Dragons being sent in to try to shut down the Umbral Tide and the possible the slam as well. Will they fry that toad? Will they burn that toad and have a nice little lunch in this afternoon? I think they might. They just might. The Noble helping out as well. A net going down on the Star Dragon. They are going to need to be careful a little bit here because they no longer have any Earth. Oh, actually, I say that. I don't say that they no longer have any more Earthbloods, but Larry does come back here. So maybe able to provide some Earthbloods in that late game if she manages to stay alive. If those Bastillodons don't snipe her out, which that one definitely needs to turn. Those two definitely need to turn around, put on guard mode, and just snipe out that damn caster. That bird there on that freaking that bird, excuse me, that caster on that mount. But yeah, Star Dragon, they are gonna get that heal there. It's gonna help out quite a bit, even hit Larry a bit, but she is on fire, so she's gonna get half that healing that she would normally get. So yeah, 8.8%. She's not looking too great, but the Star Dragons are doing really great. Once the Umbral Tide are not giving time at all to continue shooting, so smartly played by the high elf player, giving specifically you can probably just send the Noble, but I know that you can put those Umbral Tide on guard mode even with the Noble attacking them. But it is very nice disruption. But yeah, nice breath attack coming in on Spear Riders and the Skinks, doing some pretty good damage. Wow, those Skinks were talking there, and I thought somebody was talking in my right ear. That was creepy. Luckily, the Bastillodons don't do that great of damage into the Star Dragon thanks to its armor, but it's providing that nasty blindness debuff. Only for a short duration, but still, it definitely adds up and can change combat situations rather. Spear Riders not able to get their engagements. That's very nice for the Star Dragon, and they're possibly just gonna get terror routed immediately after like 1 or 2 hits. If the Star Dragon can get a hit off, misses. Oh no, it does. Yep, and then it shatters. Very, very good engagement there for the high elves. Yeah, the Star Dragons are doing such good work in this late game scenario, despite Larry taking as much damage as she could. Now she's just off in the back line, away from the solar engine range. So as good as the solar engines were doing, they're not going to do that great here in that late game because the Pistons aren't great fighters at all. So if the Star Dragons actually get on top of them or manage to shut down the rest of their units, the Pistons are going to have a tough time dealing with them. And it looks like the Umbral Tide might get shut down here. I mean, the Umbral Tide don't have the greatest of leadership. They take that rear charge and take a bit of damage. They can rout off very soon. You never know, though. Skinks are able to get some pretty good chip damage on the Star Dragon, but it's down to its 1 volley of ammunition left. Same with the other one. Nope, that one's shattered. So no more ammunition in terms of Skinks for the Lizardman side here. And I think that is it for the Lizardman. I think the Lizardmen do not have this. They do not have any range support to deal with those double Star Dragon. The Bastillodons are going to struggle in melee against them, and their best bet was hopefully to snipe out Larry, but they were not able to do so. And even then, even if they sniped out Larry, I don't think that was the end. That would be the end there for the Isles, because sure, there's no healing left, but the Star Dragons are hard to take down even without healing. it just makes it even harder. Yeah, pretty good match there. 2004 on this Star Dragon and 1591 on that one, doing pretty decent. 1133 on the Lion Chariot and 694 on this one. The Spearman did fine. Yeah, the Lion Chariot did pretty great. I mean, the fact that one of them wasn't dead, despite that initial like really really good surround there with one of the Spear Riders, I'm surprised that one didn't end up dying. But they must be just that good because I've seen them fight in Cav scenarios and they actually do pretty good at fighting back against Cav, despite them being, you know, a freaking anti-infantry chariot. So definitely one of the better chariots on the high alpha roster, and just in game, really really good. But yeah, I don't know what that weird interaction was. I'm surprised that the Spear Riders didn't shut them down easier. Yeah, some of the higher value I've seen in them, at least this one. But for the Lizardmen, the slanted good 1070. Maybe the nets would have been better on the Star Dragons or the Chariots rather, because if the Chariots weren't able to disrupt their back line, then maybe would have given your range units more time to shoot. Like, imagine if your King Skirmishers had like nothing disrupting the back line like these Chariots, and if you were to like just freely shoot with the Umbral Tide, sure, the Noble could be still sent to disrupt them, but he could be dealt with. He can just be screened out. He's just a single entity on a horse. He's not on a dragon or anything. So imagine though, Noble on a dragon. In Old World, they can be put on a freaking on a Phoenix, which is awesome. By the way, they could be like anointed of Assyrian or Assyrian something like that, and they could put on like a we put on the three like a Fire Phoenix. You can put on the Eagle. You can put on like multiple different types of Phoenixes, which is pretty cool. I think Anointed of Assyrian literally just makes them into like a Phoenix card. Is what it happens here. But yeah, the solar engines. One of them got 1100 value. The other got 635. Not too bad there. But yeah, pretty much their best use would have been to shoot at. Unfortunately, only against Larry, or maybe just shooting at the chariots, hoping to snipe out models because Star Dragons aren't the greatest targets, and neither is the Noble. Sure, the blindness debuff is nice, but it's not substantial enough to make the Star Dragons lose any of the combats that they're going to be having with your army. At least this specific army. So better to shoot at like chariots who do rely on their charge bonus and a lot on their bonus versus infantry and stuff like that, and also on the possibility of sniping out a model or two, because with like warline chariots which only have 3 models, losing a single model is pretty substantial, as you can imagine. Yep, a solid game there. Return on the block every time, but luckily they're not shown because it was always all the way at the bottom. Drink some water here. All right. I actually forgot to do something. Let me post this in the Vermin Discord, because I mean, might as well, right? Doesn't hurt specifically. Is it thumbnail not correct? Yes, not. Thanks, YouTube. But all right, okay, let's go on to the second game: Rider versus Hepidors. Wood Elves versus the Tomb Kings once again. I think maybe for the the thing is with the best of threes, like they can, as I said, they can go pretty long. So sometimes it's not worth a video unless it's like a tournament game, like the what's that tournament series that Human Boy did? It's a massive one where he was having. Okay, why are you so loud? Jesus. Um, Warpstone Cup. There we go. Sometimes it's not worth doing it unless it's like a series tournament like that, where you're having like these really important like group stage games. Because again, how long they are. But maybe with like if it only goes to 2 matches, it's worth it. Obviously, as well, it just depends on I guess the quality of the game. Like it's really, really good, then maybe it's worth a video. I mean, some of these have been pretty good, but it's a bit more work for me to do like a video series with these replays than say somebody else who doesn't do what I do. So I think it's kind of just a little bit easier for me to just live cast them, and it's more fun, I suppose, at times. But we have a spell seaver. What the hell is a spell seaver? Spell weaver of life on a eagle with regrowth and earthblood and a Loic's blessing, and then a life bloom as well. For the rest of the army, it's going to be Eternal Guard, 4 of those bad boys, and including the Winterheart Guard in the back line. We also have Glade Guard Starfire Shafts, 30 of them in total, and some Zotes. Some freaking Zotes. You definitely don't ever see these guys at all because they're just kind of like extremely expensive. And it is actually like insanely funny that they just literally are the Dragon Ogre models. Just changed, like reskinned. It's just funny. But yeah, no, they're just very, very expensive anti-large cav or monsters inventory. So, but for the Tomb King side, we do have a giant, what the hell, Grand Heriton Katep. It's got a Sandstorm, Incantation of Curse Plates, and Incantation of Vengeance, plus Restless Dead as well. For the infantry, it's gonna be a whole bunch of skeleton spear boys, little skellies. You got some sepulchral stalkers, some sneaky snakes. No, the RR variant, is there not here? Why do you not have the RR variant? Excuse me. This is unacceptable. It's literally one of the best units on that roster. But we do have the Chosen of the Gods. Speaking of one of the best units on the roster. Is Katep on a horse? Is he on foot? He is on horse. But yeah, we do have Chosen of the Gods as well. And double sneaky snakes with some Ushakti. Is it just one of them? Yes, it is. And a whole massive amount of freaking cav on the flanks, trying to surround the Wood Elves, and some carrion as well. That massive amount of cav can definitely help deal with the Wild Riders, which you definitely see a lot of in these matchups against the Wood Elves. So completely understandable why they brought. The hell is doing so much? What is doing damage to them? Is that just the Loic's blessing thing? I think it is. That is a weird visual effect for that. It makes it look like they're taking damage, but they did take a bit of damage from the Chosen of the Gods, quite a bit actually. Same with the Glade Riders as well. But the Glade Riders are going to take a charge there with the Skeleton Warriors, not do a lot of damage, and possibly get caught out here by the Nahakar Horsemen, which are pretty good fighters, honestly. Very, very decent cav. The Zotes are going to catch them out and not do a substantial amount of work to them because they only caught out portion of the model. Oh, actually, I say that a good portion of them are caught out, and they might get dealt with pretty quickly by the Zotes. Though I say that, and Zotes aren't back known for being quick at dealing with large gaps or large units. They're good, but not really good. But yeah, the Nahakar horsemen are chasing down are trying to get away from the Zotes, I think, at the moment, which do get pulled back. The Carrion do make their way into the center, and the Wood Elf player isn't able to respond quick enough to help save their Glade Guard, which are unfortunately routing at the moment. One of them gets routed off, the other one is close to routing at only 0 leadership. Yep, and they end up breaking a incantation of vengeance going down on the Glade Riders, possibly misclicked and should have gone on the Glade Guard instead, but still worth it on the Glade Riders as it, you know, shuts down some of the ability on the Wood Elf side. These Zotes do come over to support the Skeleton Horsemen, but are getting shot in the flank at the moment from the Sepulchral Stalkers, which is actually one of their better targets here on the field at the moment, as there's not a lot of Wild Riders to shoot at, and they're going to do a pretty good amount of damage. Do these Zotes have any missile resistance? They do have 25%, which does help out against the Sepulchral Stalkers. The Skeleton Horsemen, unfortunately, are taking an engagement with the Zotes, but I would say that, but there's 2 of them here, and they're going to surround the Zotes and do some pretty good damage despite the value difference here. But another Zote comes over to support. Man, look at this freaking firing squad. We have the Sepulchral Stalker shooting in here, and then we have the Chosen of the Gods as well. The Zotes are having a very tough time despite that Earthblood and despite their missile resistance. Another Sandstorm going down here, doing some pretty good work into those Winterheart Guards. The Winterheart Guards should probably be sent in to help screen out those Sepulchral Stalkers, because my god, those Sepulchral Stalkers are doing so much freaking work. But yeah, one of those Zotes does get shut down, luckily only losing 1 model so far. If they able to manage to save some of their models as they're riding off and still come back, and that could do it could be pretty big here for the Wood Elves, because despite being as at that low point in their HP, having the models is what matters. Having those models to output that damage is what matters. But yeah, the Sepulchral Stalkers are going to start getting chased down by the Eternal Guard. Obviously, you don't hope to catch them out, but you just want to screen them out so they don't get any shots off. Some Wild Riders do, Glade Riders do come back and manage to possibly chase down the Chosen of the Gods. They're going to be brute force past the Grand Inheritant Katep and get on top of the Chosen of the Gods, so they're not able to shoot anymore. Same exact reason there. You don't want them shooting. You kind of expect the Glade Riders to not win that fight, but it just stops them from shooting for a good amount of time, which is the best choice there. Blade Guard do get caught out by the Sepulchral Stalkers, and which is quite unfortunate, because that's one of your only answers to them at the moment, aside from just your Zotes. But your Zotes, obviously not the fastest at only 64 speed, and them especially being tired, -6 as well, not helping for sure. But even then, like, the Sepulchral Stalkers, even if they get caught out by these Zotes, yeah, they're pretty decent fighters, but they're more defensive. Like, they don't have the greatest melee attacks. And Sepulchral Stalkers do have decent bonus versus large in return as well. Katep is going to be sent over to help try to deal with those Eternal Guard so the Sepulchral Stalkers can get away. Sandstorm is going to do some pretty decent damage to them. My god, very nice. It's going to give these Stalkers enough time to turn around and get some shots in. And man, that was a very nice volley. They're hitting both the units of Zotes, but now they're going to get caught out there by the Spellweaver plus the Zotes, and now we're going to have a Shopti summon coming in, and now they're going to get shot in the flanks by the Sepulchral Stalkers. This is a very massive engagement for the Tomb Kings. If they manage able to shut down these Zotes, then I think that is the game for the Wood Elves. To be fair though, it was looking pretty bad for them in the first place. Zotes, again, there's a reason why they're not used the majority of the time. They're just very expensive and don't put out as much value as you would expect them to for their cost. But yeah, goes to the Tomb Kings. Very good. Very good little last engagement there for the Tomb Kings, baiting them in to fight the Sepulchral Stalkers, because they know that they only had the two Zotes and the Spellweaver left really there, so they could catch one out with the Sepulchral Stalker, bait them into fight, while the other one shoots them in the back. Very, very well played by the Tomb Kings. Let's look at the values here. We got 100 here on the Spellweaver, of course, not going to spec too much. Important units unfortunately got shut down by the carrier. Not expecting that much mobility from the Tomb Kings was very, very rough. They just had so much freaking mobility, and whenever you're having to rely on your very, very expensive Zotes, it's a lot of money being soaked in here on those guys. Like, look at the mobility contest compared to the Tomb Kings. Just that much is very hard to deal with. Yeah, the Wild Riders had a tough time. Or rather, Glade Riders. I keep calling them Wild Riders. Same thing. I'm just gonna call them just same thing. Two of the Zotes got some of their value back. The other one, not so much. But yeah, even if like they managed to fight back, like say, I don't know, 3 of these freaking skeleton horsemen, they still wouldn't make one of the value back for one of the Zotes. Like one of these Zotes would probably have to take all 4 of them. Maybe 2 of them have cars, and I think they're like what 900 or something. So then they'd make their value back. But somebody's got to answer to these skeleton horsemen, and the 2 of the Glade Riders is not it. But for the Tomb King, 1631 here on Katep. Pretty good sandstorms. Very, very fortunate with those sandstorms because they just went exactly where you wanted them to be. And yeah, a lot of the times I see sandstorms, they just whiff. So on the off chance you do see one get set down and it does good, just like a banishment, it could do really, really substantial work. The Chosen of the Gods, 3,000 value there, pretty good. I mean, as you saw from that initial volley, getting really good damage there on the Glade Guard early on was pretty substantial. Sepulchral Stalker's also doing pretty good. 1900 on this one. The other one, not so much. But yeah, just fantastic. I know I talked crap about them not bringing the RWR variant, but they're still, the base variants are still extremely good. It's just the RWR one is just like overshadows them. Yeah, pretty good build. I mean, pretty good unit performances all around as well. That is a game 2 between them, so it is going to go to game 3. It's going to be Ryder on the Lizardman up against Tzeentch from Hepidors. Theoretically, I would say the Lizardmen are a little bit more favored here, but we'll see. We'll see. Drink some water. All right. We do have Mr. Mazdamundi, Supreme Toad Lord here. He is on Zlak, and he does have all of his utility here pretty much here. Apotheosis, Net, Ruination of Cities, Banishment, Shield of the Old Ones, Rolling Skies, and Great Arcane Conduit and Sunburst, providing that missile resistance, and then of course that melee defense as well. For the rest of the army, it's going to be a Coatl, which is kind of at the moment is hiding everything from Tzeentch, so they're not able to get any sneaky little blue fires off immediately. Everything is kind of just hidden. Double red crested skinks for the infantry, and then we have double skink cohorts and some Codon riders in the center, including a solar engine and a temple guard. Hold on, I just realized freaking, I didn't even think about it. Ryder's playing Lizardman here. What the? Okay, this is a series that he tagged me in specifically because since when the hell does Ryder play Lizardman? He hasn't played it in like extremely long time, if like at all. I can't even remember when the last time he did. So I don't know what to say about it, but the fact that he's playing Lizardman and this is what he brings for the first time playing them in a long time is actually kind of funny. What the hell is this, Ryder? This is disgusting. But we have a Temple Guard in the center here, providing that Guardian to Mazda Money, which is obviously not substantial against the Zinch, which is mostly magic damage, but still, it provides them gives them that sacred duty because they're near Mazda Mundi, so it gives them the ITP and fear, which is very nice. And then we have the Cold Heart of Water, which does the magical attacks, and then Daze, which is very nice, and pretty great AP, and then Perfect Vigor. So really good, strong unit against demonic factions like Zinch. Yeah, we have a Chaos Sorcerer Lord, does have Plague of Rust and Searing Doom, just going to be on his horse, no disc this time. We do have a double Exalted Flamer as well, which is pretty dirty from Hepidors. And then double Chaos Knight in the center with some Marauders as the infantry and a whole bunch of pink horrors to possibly deal with any SCs. Just massive missile spam, obviously, to possibly deal with any SCs that the Elizabeth bring, which they are going to bring a lot of, typically. But yeah, the Siege Caster just barely saw them just now and it's like, what the hell is going on here? Gets netted, possibly going to get killed here by the Cold Heart of Water. I don't know though. Those Warp Flames from the Exalted Flamers are just doing a lot of damage here. What the hell? And then, yeah, just my god, those... I think it's mostly like the AoE effect that's happening there. The little cyclone effect is doing really good damage against the Cold Heart, which is surprising. But yeah, we have Searing Doom come down here, mostly doing damage to these Skinks, not doing a lot to the Quadruple, but they're already taking a lot of damage from those Warp Vortexes, which are hurting quite a bit. They need to get shut down here, possibly by the Solar Engine. Where's the Solar Engine at? Fighting the Chaos Sorcerer Lord, they need to shoot at the freaking Exalted Flamers because they are doing some serious issues there. Banishment going down. They're missing, unfortunately, on the Marauders, and now the freaking Pink Horrors are in sight. Or no, they're not. Actually, it's just the Exalted Flamers continuously shooting in here. I saw a Ruination of Cities go down here. Where the hell was that at? Was it over here? Where did I miss it at? I don't know. But I'm sure it was good. The Exalted Flamer continuously shooting in here at the Lord Mazda Mundi. But luckily he does have Sunburst, so it does help out a little bit with that missile resistance. And a Searing Doom going down here, hitting the Cold Heart once again. Doing some doing more damage to the Temple Guard. The Marauders do get finished off there. How did that engagement go overall? The Chaos Sorcerer Lord did get routed is what happened. And that's a pretty good catch there. No more Searing Doom span coming in here from the Zinch caster, at least for a little while until he comes back. He's not going to be able to get caught out here as we don't have a lot of mobile units aside from the Quaddle. The Quaddle can be sent at the moment to rather deal with the Exalted Flamer, which I think is a better target, but he's going to be sent after the Quaddle, the Chaos Sorcerer Lord instead, which is also still a good target. So, Plague of Rust Overcast going down on Lord Mazamani, bringing him down to a, just a solid 70 armor. That's just how much freaking armor they have, 130 base. But yeah, possibly a, what is it, a Comet or something? Thunderbolt going down here? Thunderbolt going down here on the Pink Horse from the Quaddle. The Quaddle, for some reason, not attacking the Chaos Sorcerer, literally right underneath him. What the hell? Attack. Thank you very much. Just literally hit him 1 or 2 times. He's netted. Hit him. Freaking hit him. There we go. Hit. And it might be able to ride off that Sorcerer Lord or finish him off, hopefully. The Exalted Flamer shooting in away at the Mazamani, doing some pretty good value there on him. I mean, Mazamani's got to be really, really careful here. I mean, he's taking a lot of damage and he's very low at 2,600. 2,600 is low for his health pool, which is 10,000. So, yeah, a nice little... what is it? Chain Lightning going down on the Pink Horrors, doing some pretty good damage. Might even catch out the second one as well. This one goes down into Demonic Instability. A Show to the old ones going down. Yeah, those freaking Exalted Flamers are picking up insane value, I am sure. 1727 on this one. And on the other one, 2095. A Ruination of Cities going down on this Pink Horror, doing some pretty okay work there. Missing the Marauders, unfortunately. But yeah, these freaking Cold Heart of Water need to deal with this Exalted Flamer. But I mean, to be fair, once the Zinch player runs out of other mobility pieces to stop the Lizardman player from shutting down those Exalted Flamers, they might as well be as good as dead. So, but Chaos Knights do get routed off, terror routed. In fact, only 21 models left. Chaos Sorcerer Lord manages to freaking come back. 353 HP left and 1 leadership. What the hell is this? What the hell is that? Why is it coming back? That is some bullshit. But to be fair, Lizardmen have some leadership bullshit like that on occasion too. So, Chaos Knights, 10 models left, still fighting it out there with the Mazimundi there. But they do finally route there. Possibly that Solar Engine shot, yep, does terror route, or shatter rather, the Chaos Sorcerer Lord, and that is going to spell the end there for Tzeentch. Giving that best of 3 there to Ryder. That was certainly a game for sure. What the hell was that? Freaking the Coatl sometimes it's just so frustrating because sometimes it just won't hit. Sometimes it just will not land and attack the freaking the land-based unit that's literally right underneath it. But even then, when it's fighting single entities, it's just like so jank sometimes. Like it just won't hit. Need some water after that one. My God. Oh, it's freaking hot in Texas. My God. All right. Oh, values. That was probably the best game I casted so far. Even then, I like whiffed a lot of the freaking like some of the units. I just completely forgot about some of them, like the Golden Riders. Just didn't exist in my world. Completely gone out of my line of sight. But for the rest of the army, 1132 here on Mazimundi. That was pretty solid. But I think he provided more disruption rather than actual like combat value, because typically you'll see Mazimundi with like upwards, same with like Cetra, like you get like upwards of 2, almost 3k value majority of the time. That's just how freaking good they are. If if they're able to manage to survive the massive amount of missiles or magic coming in from like a faction like Tzeentch. Yeah, he's just like a massive disruption piece, and he did pretty good there. I mean, 1132. What's there else to say? It was kind of getting a little scary there in that late game when he was downwards to 2,000 health, and if he got killed, it probably wouldn't have looked good for the Lizardman anymore, because the Coatl wasn't that great of a state either. So could have been very, very bad. But he managed to survive there because he is a freaking 2nd generation Slan there. He is just the homie. I think he's 3rd generation actually. He's just that good. But 1039 on Coatl there. Yeah, pretty decent. Pretty freaking decent. Aside from the fact that he wouldn't hit the Chaos Sorcerer Lord. He did good. I mean, his bounce spells. I keep gendering these freaking monsters here in the Coatl. Yeah. It did fine. The Bastiladon, definitely shouldn't have spent time in melee majority of the time, and should have been shooting away at like the Sorcerer Lord or shooting away at the Exalted Flamers, which were causing so much issues for the Lizardmen. Because that's exactly what you want the Solar Engine for, is to be shooting at those like really annoying single entities, like a sorcerer, like a demon. Demon Lord, I can't think of their name right now, like Keeper Secrets, Sorcerer Lords, or Karos, etc. Or you want them shooting at Soul Grinders or freaking Exalted Flamers, so you can get that, at least get them the accuracy debuff, if not kill them, because these Solar Engines are very good at doing that. But yeah, I understand though, you want to keep them typically around. The reason that typically they're kept around like you're seeing other single entities, because they provide that like pretty much almost, what is it, not strong vigor, perfect vigor essentially, because of their aura. Like if your Mazdamundi is somehow managed to able to stay at like fresh vigor or like uh late into that game there, that's a serious issue for the enemy side because the only thing that's you can hope for when fighting these single entities is when they're tired, they take a massive like debuff. But the solar engine is mostly used as like pretty much as just a vigor machine. Like it just gives them free vigor, keeps them from getting tired. So understandably, that's why you didn't get to see them shoot that much at their intended targets, or rather at their important targets. 21, 29 here on the quadrilateral, pretty good there. I mean, very good in this matchup overall. The magical attacks and solid AP. You can deal with Cold One Knights. Excuse me, Cold One Knights, the hell. Chaos Knights. Even the, what are they called? Can't think of they're called, the flying ones. I'm not even gonna try to remember. I'm sure I'm not gonna even think about them. With the D. I don't know. But yeah, they're pretty good there overall. Temple Guard obviously providing that solid, like, I guess melee protection for Mazdamundi as well if you keep them around them. Chaos Sorcerer did fine. Unfortunately, he got caught out a few times, so wasn't able to cast spells the majority of the time, and he didn't have the greatest targets for Searing Doom, in my opinion, aside from like the Cold One Riders. I guess the Temple Guard, but even then, like you mostly just want to, if you're bringing a metal cast like that, you mostly can probably be using the overcasted Plague of Rust to help deal with Mazdamundi, because that'll make him much more manageable. An overcasted Plague of Rust. Or like the Quadrilateral as well. Like if you throw down the Quadrilateral or the Bastillodon, those guys will melt very quickly. If you manage to focus fire them, of course. Chaos Knights didn't do that great. The Exalted Flamers were pretty much the MVP there. I mean, as you can imagine, they did incredibly well. Like, if you manage to able to keep your Exalted Flamer up from being disrupted the majority of the game, they can provide you so much value, even against single entities. Doom Knights, there we go. Hey, what's up, Lucy? Yeah, there we go. I knew it was the T. Thank you. Yep, that blocker up. Yeah, that was the third game, right? I already forgot. Yeah. Yeah, so that managed to go to Ryder, that best of 3 between Ryder and Hepidors. Very nice. I know Hepidors is French, I believe, so I don't even know what the actual proper pronunciation of Hepidors is, but I like the sound of Hepidors, so I'm gonna go with that one. Next series replay, we got Mr. Rocket, retired old man, doesn't really even play anymore. Ancient old ODM fart is mostly just playing tabletop nowadays, but he did manage to get a series out here with Ruben, a pretty good one from what I've heard, at least one what he said. So I look forward to it. He is playing Lizardman, of course, so I do have a bit of bias here, so definitely going to be expecting a win up against the Chaos War, which is actually my second favorite faction in this game, so a bit of conflict in who I want to win. But considering we just saw Mazdamundi win here, maybe I'll root for the Chaos Dwarves. But we got Mr. Mazdamundi once again, pretty much the exact same kit. I think maybe like missing one thing. I don't know, but I think pretty much it. Pretty much all the same. And this time we have double Coatl. He did do this against me, and I did cast my own replay on my channel. Double Coatl is pretty scary as the Chaos Dwarves. Like, I find it very hard to deal with unless you manage to get like really lucky with your engagements, unlike your Bull Center Renderers. But even then, the Bull Center Renderers can take so much damage very quickly from like just even the small little javelin fire from skinks, because they just don't have that great of armor. They have summons resistance, I think. Yeah, 25%, which adds up. But I mean, you'll see the Bull Center Renderers despite the missile resistance, they can take a lot of damage very quickly. Like they're like more like a shock cab almost in a way with their lower melee defense. Not the Hush Shoot Stark Ravishers, they have pretty good at 52, but like the regular ones at 42 and only 36 melee attack. They rely on their bonus versus infantry and shock damage from charge bonus. But yeah, I think it's just a very, very tough fight for the Chaos Dwarves. I think the one time I managed to fight Rocket and win, I think it was mostly just purely luck, honestly. I think Fire Glaives are pretty decent. It's just that they're very expensive. But yeah, for the rest of the army, it's going to be a whole bunch of Red Corsa Skinks as the front line, including the Cohort of Sotek. And I mean, it makes sense here. They're going to pretty much tear through any Chaos Dwarves if they're brought. But I can imagine they beat the Goblin Laborers handily. It's just, I just don't know how fast it will be, considering the Red Corsa Skinks don't have super high melee attack. So they're not like freaking dual axes of corn or something like that. But yeah, we have some Spear Riders in the back line. We have some Skin cohorts as well in the center. For the Chaos Dwarfs, we do have Mr. Zatan the Black, which is also taking this matchup because that net is very, 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 very good. It's just a very close range at 20 meters, so you have to be very close, which can be very, very risky for him. But he's an okay fighter, 44-52, more defensive and less of a actual like duelist himself. Enfeebling Foe and Withering, okay, I kind of wish he had more bounce spells, more charges of them rather. On the Lamashtu. The Lamashtu is still kind of meh in my opinion, aside from their little magical aura, which is like, that's the only thing that makes them worth using, is that Sorcerer's Miasma. If it wasn't for that, they would be utter crap, utter garbage. But yeah, some Goblin Laborers will be the front line. Gotta go cheap on those guys. And some Shoot Stark Ravishers and Bullseye Tyranners dual axes, not even the anti-large variant to deal with any SCs from the Lizardman side, which is interesting because they have the Death Shrieker rocket launcher to help deal with those, possibly. And then we have another caster as well, Demon Smith. Is he bringing any actual spells, or is he just here for the... He does have spells. He does have Flames of Asgore, which is pretty cool. And then Dark Subjugation and Reforge as well to heal up that Death Shrieker rocket launcher. Fireglaive shooting in there. Right now, what are they shooting at the moment? Just the Red Crescent Skinks. That's their best... That's their only target in range. But once they start shooting at the Coatls, it can... I think it's better to shoot at the Lord Mazamundi, yeah, because the Coatls have that missile resistance, so... Most Anti-Renders are going to help possibly deal with the Corsair Skinks. Double balance spells coming in here on the Infernal Fireglaves, and that's going to do a lot of damage to them. Oh my god, I pray for them. Hopefully for those Chaos Dwarves that those guys don't take a natural amount of damage. But the thing is that the Lizardman player is having to bury a lot of resources into shutting down those Fireglaves. A lot of those balance spells going down on top of them to hopefully shut them out in the air. I mean, look at them. Look how stalwart the Fireglaves here. All three of those freaking balance spells and still 23 leadership and still 50 models. I love the freaking Fireglaves. I just wish they would weren't they got a better sounds for the shooting. But yeah, they're just very expensive, so hopefully they got to keep them in the game. But Lord Mazamundi here taking a very dangerous fight with double SCs here from the Chaos Dwarves, and he's taking so much damage. That net there was very, very good there on Lord Mazamundi, and that's exactly what you want here from the Chaos Dwarves. You got to get very lucky here in catching out those single entities. And the double Coatls, as I said before, I like them, but they're not that great of dueling with other SCs. So if the Chaos Dwarf player is lucky here, they could catch out Lord Mazamundi, and that Withering plus the Dark Subjugation, bringing them down to 4 leadership. The Withering is gone now, but it tanked their leadership on the Lord Mazamundi, and this is a pretty good catch out for the Chaos Dwarf is if the Coatl continues to be buggy and doesn't actually shoot a Zatan. The rocket launcher, the Death Shrieker, is doing pretty good work as well into the SCs for the Lizardman side. They focused a lot on the Fireglaves, so the Death Shrieker has managed to able to get away with picking up value here, shooting away at the SCs from the Lizardman side. The Hushwood Stark Ravishers are dealing with the Cohort of Sotek, and they're pretty good there. I mean, 52 melee defense, so Fireglaves shooting away at the Red Crested Skinks. And yeah, Lord Mazamundi does not seem to be getting to come back. It's not going to be able to come back here. If The Zatan, yeah, Zatan just 2100 HP. You're still rocking 65 leadership as he gets hit in the back by the Quaddle. The Quaddle, man, just save your freaking Slan. Do something. The other one is trying to make their way over, getting shot in the butt by that Death Shrieker. My god, this is a really good catch up for the Chaos Dwarves here. But the Zatan, is he going to be able to finish off Lord Mazda? Another hit there coming in here, down to 1000 HP. The other Demon Smith Sorcerer chasing away. Honestly, Zatan doesn't even need to probably attack him in the flanks, but to keep him routing, as long as he is nearby, it might keep Lord Mazda close to the routing, but I'm not sure. I think the Chaos Dwarf player really, really wants to make sure that Mazda doesn't come back, either whether it be through death or through routing off. So they want to be very, very sure. And then the other Demon Smith Sorcerer does come in there to stop the squad from saving Lord Mazda, and Lord Mazda is gone. Oh my god. Only 300 value on that guy. Oh, this looks to be very, very bad for the Lizardman. But to be fair for the Lizardman side, Mr. Zatan doesn't look to be in a great condition either. Only 600 HP here. Spear Rider gets an engagement here on shoots Dark Ravishers, and possibly going to shut them down here as they're not targeted on that one. They're going to be sent in at the other one, so they might be able to get 2v1'd here, especially considering the Infernal Fire Guard are Infernal Guard aren't going to be able to shoot at them, considering the obstruction. Having to shoot at the other Bull Center Render, having to shoot at the Red Crested Skinks instead. But yeah, the Hush's Dark Ravagers do get shut down. Only 5 models left for them, though the Spear Riders aren't looking in a great condition either. Only 14 for this one and 20 on the other one. So, but the Fire Glaives are going to be able to get shut down by the Red Crested Skinks eventually once they make their way past. I can't believe the Quarter Sotek, despite fighting the Hush's Dark Ravagers for so long, still managed to live it out with only 2 models. The Death Shrieker does get shut down as well by the Skin cohorts. This is a very freaking tight game here, despite losing Mazda money that early on. And this is the same way for my game as well against Rocket. It is despite Mazda money getting shut down, the Koaddles and the rest of the Lizardman units are really good at scrapping back that value. Zatan managed to stay up at 600 HP. I think my replay might actually be bugged here. I think because of this might be a I'm not sure. I have to check later, because there's no reason that Zatan would still be alive there at the very end game. I have to make sure to check that, because that could be very misleading in terms of replays. Because I know there was quite a bit of mix between like replay versions between a lot of these that were posted in that channel. So this could very be like, remember, it to be like a previous game version replay. But you do get a breath attack in there from the Demon Smith Sorcerer on the Skiing cohorts. Doing okay, not too bad. It's more better against, I noticed, against like Monsters Infantry and Cav. Yeah, one of this Quaddle is just kind of like stuck over there, so maybe it is a version replay difference bug. And if that is the case here, I might just have to cast this one in a video instead, because this seems like a very, very good match nonetheless. One of the Quaddles does manage to come back over here and possibly help deal with the Demon Smith, but I think the Demon Smith would win in a 1v1, honestly, in this air with just no support from the Lizardman side. Yeah, because these Fire Glaives aren't shooting. I think this is bugged. Unfortunately, I think this one is bugged, because there's no reason that the Fire Glaives wouldn't be targeting something at the moment. But I think the Chaos Dwarf player... Yeah, it's bugged, because otherwise it wouldn't be doing this. Yeah. That's unfortunate. That's very, very unfortunate. But I think it's just version difference. I need to make sure to check some of these replays that they're all on the same version, or that rather they're all on the version that I'm on. Because that seemed like a very good replay, unfortunately. Rip replay. Yeah, I think that replay is donezo. Let me check though. So that was posted, let's see. Because some of the, like all those writers replays were perfectly fine. It's just that one, that particular Rocket one was not good. Rather, not the same version. Let me see here. From Rocket. RGGC around. Thanks, Lucy, for hanging out. Catch you later. 4-1 on the new patch. Let's see. I think that was. Oh, yeah, this is old. This is old. That was from April 1st, and 6.1 came out on the 25th of. Yeah. I think I'm on 6. What version am I on? I'm on no beta versions. So I'm on 6.1.2, which came out. Okay, no. Yeah, that was definitely a 6.1 replay because 6.12 hotfix came out in the 3rd. So, yeah, this is just my fault. That rocket one should be on 6.1. Damn it. I'm going to have to cast out later in a video. That sucks. That seemed like a very good match. Bleh. Oh well. Hmm. Now I'm thinking about it, I'm actually might actually end it there. It's a very early stream, like a very quiet stream, short stream rather. But one, I first need to make lunch because I'm hungry. I'm hungry. I'm a hungry boy. And two, yeah, I have some other things I need to do anyway, so it's fine. I might just cast some of the rest of these in a replay or another video or in another stream. They'll probably do another stream and actually get all my like replay sorted. Because yeah, that sucked to have to end off on. Yeah, I'll probably just end it there. Thanks for everybody who watched. I'll catch you guys later. Bye bye.